Allison from Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I'm just going to give you a tutorial on my 5-step method of getting your dog dematted. So here we have what we've identified as a DEFCON 3 stage mat, where we have like quite a bit of matting in this like high friction area on our dog, and so we need to do something about this to make it feel comfortable. So my rule always is that you start from your biggest tool and go down to your smallest tool, because i.e. if we start out with a comb, it's just going to get stuck in that hair. If we yank it out, it's just going to be so painful for our dog, and it's going to take out a lot of excess hair. So I start with my biggest tool and I work my way down to my smallest tool in a 5-step method. So my first tool, my fingers, are the biggest tool that I have. So I'm going to use some of this Smart Style, the Cure. It's a dematting milk. I'm going to put a little squirt on my fingers, just give it a little rub, and I'm just going to work it into this matted area. So we always use some kind of dematting serum when we're doing this. And the reason we use it is that if you've ever had a ring stuck on your finger, and what do? You put something on there to help glide it off, right? You put a little bit of soap or a little bit of lotion, slides right off. So same thing with the mat. This lotion is going to help us break this mat apart by lubricating those hairs. So I go in there with my dematting serum, and then I just start using my fingers and I start breaking up this mat. So already, as I start to break it apart, I can put, and I get to a dry area, I can add some more of that serum from between my fingers, or maybe like another little squirt, and just like get it in there and just keep breaking up that mat. So my second step is that if you're lucky enough to have one of these Ice Slipe brushes by Chris Christensen, they have these remarkable like short fat pins that are really fat. They're nicely rounded on the end, so they're not going to scratch your dog. Good test, brush your hand. Scratches your hand, it's going to scratch your dog. Your dog's not going to like being groomed, right? Number one question I get is, well, probably the number 3 question I get is, why doesn't my dog like to be groomed? Well, a lot of times it's the tools, right? So I'm going to go in there with my Ice Slipe brush into those same areas I used my fingers, and I'm just going to start working this matted area apart. And you can see I put my brush in, and when it hits a snag, I pull it out. I don't pull it all the way to the end. Again, painful for my dog, but I just use the brush and I just start knocking those tangles with that dematting serum to the end of the hair. So I just keep going in there. And again, as soon as I hit a snag, I'm like pulling it back out and just getting in there and giving a little bit of a demat going along there. And I'm going to work every which way because the hair is tangled up every which way. And you can see I'm starting to see the skin here, right? So that means that I'm getting that mat out. Now I'm just going to do a small corner of this mat just for time's sake. So once I have this mat mostly broken up, I want to make sure I'm getting those little hairs, those little bits of debris in there that are causing that mat out. So my next step is, my next tool is my pin brush. My pin brush is very similar to my Ice Slipe brush, and again, it is a smaller tool, right? Because you can see that these pins are fat and then these pins are a little bit skinnier. So that's what I mean by smaller tool, is the pin. And again, doesn't scratch my hand, not going to scratch my dog. So I just get in there and I give it a good brush and going back and forth, making sure I can see the skin, and I can. So I feel fairly confident. I can still see a little bit of debris coming out of that, a little bit of grass. And I just keep kind of going back and forth over this area. And once I feel that I have a lot of that mat out, it doesn't feel clumpy in there, I'm gonna switch to my next tool, which is my slicker brush. I love this, the Big G by Chris Christensen. And again, make sure that it's not scratching you, right? So you want to brush your hand, not scratching my hand, not gonna scratch my dog. And I go in there. Again, you can see already, right? You can see that this has matted coat around it, but where I've brushed it out, I'm gonna get in there, and I'm just using like the tip of my brush. I'm not using the entire brush. And I'm going in there and I'm just using the unique shape of these pins to get the rest of that matting out. I'm working on this really small area in here. And here's another little tip. If you can hear the brush, it's probably still matted. So I'm gonna stop talking for a second. And you can definitely hear that sound. That means there's still some matting in there. I'm still getting those little pieces out. So it's gonna take a little bit more brushing. And now when I go in there, we can't hear it anymore, right? So we know that we have that matting out, and look, it looks, we can see all the way down to the skin in that nice straight line. So the very last thing I'm going to do is check my work with my comb. We don't start with the comb, right? We don't want to just yank that hair out. We're just gonna go in with the comb, and when the comb slides all the way nicely to the end of the hair shaft, all the way from the root, all the way from the skin out to the end, we know that we have that matting taken care of. And there we go. The simple 5-step method, work out a little bit of hair at a time. So I like to work on an area of hair like about the width of my finger and length of my finger. So I say big dog, and then a medium dog, I use my ring finger, and a little dog, I use my baby finger. That's how much area I'm gonna work on at one time. And I'm always gonna work from my biggest tool, which is my fingers, to break that up, to my next tool, my Ice Slipe, to my pin brush, to my slicker brush, and then finally the comb is just to check my work. So that's our 5-step method of getting a mat out. Hope you liked it. Hi, I'm Allison for Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial as much as we enjoy bringing this kind of information to you. If you don't want to miss any of our tutorials, please like and subscribe so you get the very next one. If there's something that you haven't yet seen on Leading Edge Dog Show Academy here on YouTube, I invite you to just pop it in the comments below, and if we can get that information to you, we are more than happy to do so. As well, if you have a chance, check out our premium content at leadingedgedogshow.academy.com. We have great tutorials on grooming, whether for show, competition, or at home. We have fantastic webinars on training your show dog, on breeding dogs, you name it, we have it. So once again, I am so happy that you joined us for today's tutorial, and we hope to see you here on the Leading Edge Dog Show Academy channel here on YouTube very, very soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.